Speak about Bruno Guimarães and Arsenal, possibly one of the most interesting stories that we need to talk about and maybe will happen in next days.
Maybe next hours also this one.
Okay.
They're just waiting from Bruno Guimarães camp to get a call from Arsenal and Newcastle and to say, okay, you can travel for medical test and contract signing. Basically, this is what they're waiting for. The deal has been at the final stages for days now, just waiting for the final agreement between Arsenal and Newcastle on the payment terms, around £75 million. So this should be the transfer fee for Bruno Guimarães to Arsenal. Again, it's really imminent. It's really close. Bruno has an agreement with Arsenal already since weeks ago. Bruno is only waiting for this call. Could be any moment, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, we will see. Any moment we will be ready to jump on board with a here we go, but the deal is really at the final stages and Bruno Guimarães is fully expected to be the next big top signing for Arsenal with Mikel Arteta. I'm sure he will be very, very happy because he's a player he wanted for a long time. This summer was indicated by Arteta himself as a top target in the internal discussions also with the director Andrea Berta, and so Bruno Guimarães is expected to be the next bomba in midfield for Arsenal.
Reports from Fabrizio Romano suggest Arsenal are entering the final stages of what could become one of the biggest transfers of the summer. According to Romano, Bruno Guimarães is now waiting for the final green light to board a plane and complete his Arsenal medical, with Arsenal and Newcastle United still in direct talks to finalise the remaining details before the move can officially progress. For Arsenal supporters, this is the update many have been waiting for. Once a player is waiting for permission to travel for a medical, it usually indicates that negotiations are in their closing stages. While the transfer is not officially completed yet, the remaining work is focused on resolving the final contractual and administrative details between the two clubs, rather than negotiating the core agreement itself. Bruno Guimarães has been Mikel Arteta's priority midfield target for months. Arsenal's manager has consistently looked for a midfielder capable of controlling possession, dictating the tempo, breaking opposition lines with progressive passing, and providing leadership in the heart of the team. The Brazilian international fits every one of those requirements. At Newcastle, he established himself as one of the Premier League's finest midfielders, combining technical brilliance with defensive intensity and an outstanding work rate. The latest update from Fabrizio Romano will undoubtedly excite Arsenal fans because it signals that the deal is moving closer to completion. Sources indicate that Arsenal and Newcastle remain in constant communication, ironing out the final aspects of the transfer before authorising Bruno to travel. Those remaining details could include payment structure, documentation, performance-related bonuses, or other legal formalities that commonly accompany major transfers. If everything proceeds as expected, Bruno's next step will be flying to London to undergo his medical examinations. These tests are a standard but essential part of every major transfer. Arsenal's medical staff will conduct comprehensive assessments before the player signs his long-term contract and officially becomes a gunner. For Mikel Arteta, this signing would represent another major statement of intent. Arsenal have come close to Premier League glory in recent seasons, but the club is determined to build a squad capable of finally overtaking Manchester City and competing strongly in the UEFA Champions League. Adding a player of Bruno Guimarães' quality would significantly strengthen Arsenal's midfield options. Imagine a midfield featuring Martin Odegaard's creativity, Declan Rice's defensive dominance, and Bruno Guimarães' all-round brilliance. That trio would offer balance, control, energy, creativity, and leadership. Bruno's ability to receive the ball under pressure, progress attacks, and win crucial duels makes him one of the most complete midfielders in Europe. His arrival would also provide Arsenal with greater tactical flexibility. Arteta could deploy him as a deep-lying playmaker, a box-to-box midfielder, or even in a more advanced role depending on the opposition. His experience in the Premier League means he would require very little adaptation time, allowing him to make an immediate impact. Newcastle's willingness to continue discussions shows that both clubs are committed to finding a final agreement. While supporters are naturally eager for an official announcement, these final negotiations are common in transfers of this magnitude. Clubs must ensure every legal and financial aspect is finalised before granting travel permission and completing the medical. The excitement among Arsenal fans continues to grow because every update seems to move the deal another step closer. First came reports of progress in negotiations, then agreement on key financial terms, and now Fabrizio Romano reports that Bruno is simply waiting for the green light to travel. That sequence strongly suggests the transfer is approaching its conclusion. Should the medical proceed successfully, Arsenal would then prepare the official unveiling. Fans can expect the customary signing photos, interviews, and confirmation across the club's media channels before Bruno joins Arteta's squad for training. This transfer would send a powerful message to the rest of the Premier League. Arsenal are not settling for another title challenge. They are investing in proven world-class talent to strengthen one of the league's best squads. Bruno Guimarães has consistently demonstrated his quality against the toughest opposition, and his addition could provide the extra edge Arsenal need in the biggest matches. For now, Arsenal supporters will be watching closely for Fabrizio Romano's next update. The final green light has not yet been given, but all eyes are on the negotiations between Arsenal and Newcastle. Once those last details are completed, Bruno Guimarães is expected to board his flight, undergo his medical, sign his contract. It is exactly the type of midfield capable of dominating possession against the biggest clubs while also matching the physical demands of the Premier League. It is easy to understand why Arsenal supporters have become so excited by these reports. However, as massive as the Bruno Guimarães story is, Arsenal's ambitions reportedly go even further. According to Spanish journalist Sergio Valentin, Mikel Arteta has personally spoken with Real Madrid superstar Vinicius Jr. regarding a possible move to Arsenal this summer. The report claims Arteta directly explained his football project, outlining exactly how the Brazilian winger would fit into Arsenal's system and become one of the central figures in the club's future. That is a significant development because Arteta has built a reputation for personally convincing elite players to join Arsenal by presenting a clear vision of their role within his project. Several current Arsenal players have previously praised the manager for the detailed conversations he holds before transfers are completed, and it appears he is attempting to use that same approach once again. The biggest obstacle remains Real Madrid's valuation. Reports indicate that the Spanish giants are demanding around €170 million for Vinicius Jr., a figure Arsenal are currently unwilling to pay. Instead, the Gunners reportedly hope they can negotiate a deal for less than €150 million, particularly if Vinicius fails to reach an agreement over a new contract with Real Madrid. Arsenal are believed to be monitoring the situation very closely, understanding that contract negotiations could play a huge role in determining whether Madrid eventually become more willing to negotiate. While completing such a transfer would still be incredibly difficult, the fact that Arsenal are even being linked with one of the world's biggest stars demonstrates how much the club has grown under Arteta's leadership. Signing Vinicius Jr. would completely transform Arsenal's attack. His explosive acceleration, exceptional dribbling ability and experience of performing on football's biggest stages would give Arsenal another world-class dimension. Imagine Bukayo Saka attacking from one side while Vinicius Jr. operates from the other. Defenders would constantly face impossible decisions about where to focus their attention, creating even more space for Martin Odegaard, Kai Havertz and potentially Bruno Guimarães to exploit through the middle. It is the type of attacking combination capable of terrifying any defence in Europe and significantly increasing Arsenal's chances of winning major trophies. What makes these reports even more exciting is the message they send about Arsenal's ambition. Only a few years ago, supporters were dreaming about returning to the Champions League after a difficult period away from Europe's elite competition. Today, Arsenal are being linked with players who are among the very best in world football. The club has established itself as one of Europe's most attractive destinations, thanks to Arteta's clear football philosophy, a young and talented squad, consistent Champions League qualification, and a genuine belief that major silverware is within reach. Arsenal are no longer simply participating in the transfer market. They are competing for elite players alongside the biggest clubs on the planet. Of course, it is important to remember that while these reports have generated enormous excitement, neither transfer has been officially announced by the clubs involved. Transfer stories can develop rapidly, negotiations can change, and unexpected twists are always possible before contracts are signed. Nevertheless, the growing number of reports surrounding both Bruno Guimarães and Vinicius Jr. has given Arsenal supporters genuine reasons to dream about what could become one of the greatest transfer windows in the club's modern history. If Bruno Guimarães is officially unveiled in the coming days and Arsenal continue their pursuit of Vinicius Jr., Mikel Arteta could be assembling a squad capable of challenging not only for the Premier League title, but also for the UEFA Champions League. The ambition being shown by the club reflects just how far Arsenal